Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered, weak and weary, over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door.
Hey, I'm here today to review The Raven. Actually, it's Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven and other selected short stories, and it's a book on CD. And of course, Poe is awesome, and reading him is a whole other experience as to listening to this. You can't really compare the two because the way that Poe writes, of course, in his time and his century was very unique. Looking at it now, it's unique, and it's a whole other language, to kind of get caught up in and decipher along with the story. So when I saw this at the library and I picked it up, I was like, oh, well, that's cool. And I thought I'll pop it in and listen to it. And it's really good. It is read by Stefan Rudicki. I don't know who that is, but he has a really cool deep voice. And Bronson Pinchot. And yes, Bronson Pinchot is Belky Bartokomos from Perfect Strangers, if you remember that show back in the 80s. Belky. And he sounds really cool reading it too. And that really matters, I've noticed, with books on, I was almost saying books on tape, that's really old. Audiobooks, that really matters when you have a good voice actor. So, that being said, I'm trying to figure out a place to put this. This is just really, it gives you a completely different feeling for the stories, because I'm the type of person who, when I read or listen to something, I can see it in my mind's eye. I can play it out. I see it like a movie. So this really hits that sense, and if you're like that, you can really get a feeling for the story more than if you're reading it on your own, especially because the emotion that the people who are reading it put into it. I have so far been through The Raven, The Pit and the Pendulum, and The Fall of the House of Usher. I remember reading The Fall of the House of Usher and watching a movie with Vincent Price in high school, and I didn't really get it then. I just knew it was weird and creepy. And now that I've actually listened to it, I understand it more, and I didn't even realize that's what the story was about. So it was really cool. And what really amazes me is that Poe, he just spends so much time on description on one little thing. Like, he describes Usher's hair and how it falls about his face and how that makes him appear. And it's just very interesting, It's just really fascinating the way that he does that. It kind of gives more oomph to the story and to the characters. It develops them a lot. So I really like that, and it being read to me gives me more of a feel for that. And and I also, a personal favorite, The Mask of the Red Death. That one was awesome on here, because it didn't have any sound effects or anything, which doesn't really matter because it doesn't take away from it. It's just the way that it's read so emotionally that you can feel it, like you were there at the party. and the description of how the bell of the clock chimes every hour, and how people stop and just they kind of stare and they're a little bit fearful and they wonder what's going to happen, and yet they're relieved when the tolling is over. It's just very intense, and you just don't tire of these stories. They're just awesome. And so I would recommend it, checking it out. Like I said, it's on CD. There are, let's see, several CDs. There's 7 CD set of these, and so check them out. Put them on your MP3 player or whatever. But be careful with that, because I put them in my MP3 player and I didn't really pay attention, and they were in order because they're not titled tracks, they're just number tracks. So anyway, go ahead and check that out. It's a brand new experience for Poe lovers, to have it read to you in such an emotional way that just grips you, and it's almost like somebody telling you like a ghost story, or telling you a really creepy story or a horror story. It's just really cool. It just really get a feeling for it, and it's an experience. You're experiencing it. So anyway, and if you notice, it has the cover for the movie of that new Poe movie that they made. I'm not even sure if it's a good movie or not. My boyfriend said he thought it was kind of a lame premises, but or I don't know if he said it was a lame premises, but he wasn't sure how it was going to be. But I thought it was kind of cool, so I might watch it sometime and check it out. Maybe I'll review it. I have no idea, but do check this out. So, thanks for watching.